I'm telling you. Yeah, not when you need it. All right, so we're gonna get started here. I'm here with Letitia Elliott, loan officer broker with Nexa Mortgage. She's gonna be breaking down the money side of home buying, as well as Evangelist Tara Bowler, who is a life insurance agent. She's going to help you protect the wealth you build after you close. So, of course, I'm Thebra Lawrence, Realtor and Associate Broker with Sampson Properties, and I'm going to help break down the home purchase process. Be sure to ask questions. There are no dumb questions here. Grab some food and stay for the crossword prize drawing at the end. Here's what we're covering today. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about, is homeownership right for you? Then we're going to talk about the home buying process step by step, upfront costs and what to budget for, timeline and transaction walkthrough, the big three: appraisal, inspection, and title, your realtor's role in protecting what you build, and we're also going to do a live transaction simulation as well as Q&A. By the time you leave today, you'll know exactly what the home buying process looks like and what your very next step is. All right, real quick. So first and foremost, is homeownership right for you? You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be ready to start. You control your space, no lease hikes, no landlord decisions. Your future is yours. So one way to determine if homeownership is right for you is, are you financially capable of purchasing a home? That's the big one. Are we in a place where we can purchase a home? And Letitia's going to talk to you more about what that looks like. Another uh, thing that you can use to determine whether or not home ownership is right for you is it out of necessity? Are you wanting to own a home out of necessity, or is it just something that you want? Is it just something that you're interested in? Is it something that needs to be done? Because purchasing a home is not something to be taken lightly, and purchasing a home is a long-term commitment. So that's the first question to ask yourself. The home buying process step by step. So the first thing that you're going to want to do, or one of the first things that you're going to want to do, is check your credit, review your finances and readiness, find your realtor, choose an agent to guide you, get pre-approved, confirm your budget with your lender, and then tour homes, search and visit properties. You want to come talk now, or did you want? Okay. All right. So Letitia's going to talk a little bit more about what it looks like to get pre-approved and to confirm your budget with your lender and check your credit as well. What's on the next? Let's see. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we're right on time.
All right. Thank you so much, Thebra. It's such a pleasure to be here. So, as a loan officer broker, the first thing that I always want to tell my borrowers is that if you can envision yourself owning a home, then it is possible to own a home. What you don't want to do is fall in love with the house before knowing your budget. So I encourage everyone, just like Beaver said, to get pre-approved first. I have an acronym that I always want everyone to know about, and I say always remember CIA. Your credit and credit history, your income, and your assets are what's going to determine your approvability for purchasing a home. And just know that there will also be some out-of-pocket expenses that happen before closing. Now, as you can see on the screen, there are these four boxes here. There's a down payment, there's your closing costs, there's your earnest money, and your prepaids and reserves. So let's break that down. There are many different loan types that buyers can take advantage of. FHA has a 3.5% down payment. So if a home costs $200,000, your down payment will be 3.5% of 200,000, which is about $7,000. The VA loan and the USDA loan do not require a down payment, but they do have special criteria. In order to take advantage of a VA loan, you have to have been a veteran or served in the military or active duty, Coast Guard, things like that. With USDA, you have to live in a certain area and also make within a certain income range. And then there's the conventional loan. For first-time home buyers, the conventional loan can be as little as 3% of the purchase price. And then it can go higher. Something important to know about the conventional loan is that a conventional loan is not a government-backed loan. People who go for conventional loans usually have higher credit scores, very little to no negative or derogatory impacts to their credit and credit history. So let's move over to closing costs. The closing costs are separate from your down payment. They are typically 2% to 5% of the loan amount. So if your down payment is 3% and your closing costs are anywhere between 2 to 5%, then you know that you can calculate that 3% plus, let's say 4%, 7% of the purchase price is about how much you could typically spend out of pocket. And then your earnest money is money that you put up that comes out of your pocket or from a gift that shows the seller that you're serious about purchasing the home. That money is held in title until closing day, and it can be attributed to your closing costs or sometimes given back to you at the closing table, depending on your circumstances. That final box where it says prepaids and reserves, you got to be prepared for these things, your insurances, your taxes, any prepaid interest, any cash reserves that are needed once you close. I always tell people your down payment plus your closing costs equals your cash to close. So when you think about a down payment, that's the money that you're putting down to secure the home, but the closing costs are the other fees that come along with purchasing the home, and then your cash to close is all of those numbers combined. So it's very important that you don't fall in love with a house before knowing your budget, because guess what? Sellers will not take you seriously without a pre-approval letter. And you don't want to be heartbroken or out here shopping for something that you are not prepared to purchase. All right, Thebra, I think I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Letitia, for that. That was some wonderful information. I hope that you are taking notes because this is information that is going to help you become a homeowner. All right, so how long does this actually take? So from offer accepted to keys in hand, it typically takes 30 to 45 days. Sometimes it'll take longer if there are title issues or maybe there's an appraisal situation going on or something like that. We'll get to that as we get further down the road. But essentially, within the first 1 to 2 weeks, you're going to have your pre-approval and your home search is going to begin. Now, typically, statistically anyway, a purchaser is going to look at 10 to 12 homes before they make an offer on a property. So if you see a couple, you see 5 or 6 and you're not quite thrilled about any of them, don't get discouraged. The right one is coming. So weeks 3 to 4, you've hopefully made an offer by now, for my sake, but no, just joking. But through weeks 3 to 4, you've probably made an offer by now and you've negotiated and you've ratified. Um, During this time, you are going to be, or after, once you ratify, this is when you're going to be moving. So Letitia's going to need you to get your updated documents into her. I'm going to need you to get your earnest money deposit into escrow. We are getting ready to go. It's go time, essentially. Days 1 to 10, the home inspection window opens. So during this time, you're going to be attending a home inspection at some point. If for some reason you can't attend, I always recommend sending someone who cares about you, someone who's going to ask the questions. All home inspectors were not created equally, and they typically have a few different appointments each day. So there could be something that they miss or something that they say there that doesn't end up on the report. So it's good to be there to ask questions and gather information that way. Somewhere between 1 to 21 days, the appraisal is going to be ordered by the lender. The appraisal is different from the home inspection. So the home inspection is a minimally invasive inspection that's going to tell you about the different systems and components of the property, right? That's for you. That's something that you purchase directly from the home inspector, so that you can know your house inside and out. It's also used as a negotiation tool because in the event that there is an issue with the house you don't feel like dealing with, you can use it to either reduce the purchase price, you can negotiate repairs, or you can walk away altogether. The appraisal is for the lender. The appraisal is essentially an inquiry of value or an estimated value from the appraiser. And what it does is it lets the lender know, hey, yeah, we're good with this house. This is a good price. This is fine. The house itself is marketable. There's no major issues that would keep us from being able to sell it in the event that this person defaults, essentially. Sorry to take away the fairy tale-ness of it, but that's essentially what it is. The lender wants their money back. So they want to make sure that the house is a good product for them to purchase. I lost my train of thought with that one. Either way, days 14 to 30, your title search, your insurance are going to be secured. Now, the title search is an inspection of the house, but in a different way. It's an inspection of the deed and inspection of the title. So is there something within the title that could cause this house not to fully transfer to you? That's the goal, is for you to own this property, fee simple. You want to, once you pay the lender, you want to make sure that there's no one from 10, 15 years ago that can say, oh no, like I was supposed to sign for this. This wasn't even their house to sell, because that can happen. So that's what happens during the title search. If anything comes up in the title search, whether it's about you, whether it's about another heir to the property, it will have to be cleared. This cloud on title is what they call it, will have to be cleared prior to you being able to close. And then the final week, you have your clear to close, your final walkthrough closing day. Now, your final walkthrough is kind of what it sounds like, but I like for it to be a little bit more intensive than just a walk through and look at the house. I want you to go and I want you to turn on faucets. I want you to flush toilets. I want you to open cabinets and show that there are no leaks. I want you to try the doorbell, turn on all the lights, however you plan to use the house within this 30 to 45 minutes that we're at this house, just run through and do it. Because once you sign that pre-occupancy agreement, or final walkthrough agreement is what some people may call it, you are accepting that house in the condition that it is, which means you're going to close on that house. That's going to be yours in the condition that it currently is at the final walkthrough. Home inspection. So let's get into the home inspection. I may have gotten a little ahead of myself with the last so you're right to know this is one of the most important days of your transaction. What the home inspection covers is the roof, structure, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, and more. Usually within this says 7 to 10, but within 1 to 10 days of the contract ratification, depending on how much time you have for your home inspection contingency, you're going to want to do it as soon as possible either way. Again, be there, walk through with the inspector, ask every question. There is no such thing as a dumb question when it comes to the home inspector. There are questions that they may not know. They may have to call someone and ask, but that doesn't mean that it's a dumb question on your part. Your options after, again, so you can request repairs using the home inspection contingency removal addendum. You can ask for a credit, or you can walk away totally. Every house has a list. You're not going to find a house that's perfect, that doesn't have any issues. What you're looking for is those big ticket items. Is the HVAC going to last me for the next year or two? Unless you have the money to replace a complete HVAC system, you're going to want to know this. Is the roof at the end of its useful life, or are we going to continue to be able to live in this house without having to worry about it raining on our heads? Always get an inspection. I always recommend a home inspection, even if the property is brand new. And the appraisal. Did you want to talk about this? Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Letitia's going to come and talk to you guys about the appraisal.
The lender is not going to loan you a home without knowing the value of the home. So, with that being said, the appraisal is mandatory. And some of you might be wondering, well, how much is an appraisal going to cost me? Because this is one of those four out-of-pocket expenses before closing on your home. So, depending on the property, depending on the location, an appraisal can be maybe anywhere from $550 to I've seen them as high as $800. Okay. The appraisal tells you what the value of the home is in comparison to homes that have been sold in that area within a certain amount of time. It could be the last 1, 2, 3 months, or maybe even up to as many as 6 months ago. The lender orders an independent appraisal to confirm the home is worth what you agreed to pay. If the appraisal, which is completed by a licensed appraiser, comes back less than what the purchase price is, then you either have some negotiating to do to get that price down, or you might even have to come out of pocket to pay higher for that home than what the loan is going to allow for. But in any case, the appraisal is mandatory. It lets you know the value of the home, and the price point for an appraisal is could be anywhere between $550 and $800. Okay? All right.
Yes, appraisals are always fun for us. I guess everyone involved in the transaction because it's almost like a game. Like, is it going to appraise? Is it not going to appraise? If it doesn't appraise, what do we do? We got to do some math now. We all like math. All right, so title. Proving the home is legally yours to buy. So you cannot own what is not clear to be sold. I don't care how many years goes by. If a cloud on title is not cleared, then the person who owns the property at the time that the chickens come home to roost, so to say, it will be an issue. They will have an issue. So before closing, a title company searches public records to confirm the seller can legally transfer the property and that no surprises are attached to it. So there are two types of title insurance. There's a lender's title insurance policy and there's a owner's title insurance policy. The lender's title insurance is required. It protects the lender. The owner's title insurance is recommended. It's a one-time premium that is typically already included in the closing costs, and it protects the buyer from post-closing issues. I always recommend a home inspection. I always recommend owner's title insurance because you just never know, especially if you live in an area like the Northern Neck where it's a rural area where a lot of properties transferred interfamily. And there are a lot of heir properties and things like that. And the proper paperwork may or may not have been filed, et cetera. And in some cases, the proper paperwork doesn't have to be kept on file for longer than a certain amount of time, or it was lost or something like that. You definitely want to get owner's title insurance to protect your investment. So a title search uncovers a lot of different things. It uncovers liens, unpaid taxes, ownership disputes, and judgments. A big one that I like to talk to buyers about is judgments because in the event that you have any judgments against you, the title search is going to uncover that. And that judgment will need to be cleared prior to closing. So if you find out, hey, I only had to bring, $500 to closing, but you have a $5,000 judgment somewhere, now you have to bring $5,500 to closing. Again, lender's title insurance is required by your lender, and owner's title insurance is strongly, strongly recommended. All right, so we're going to get into the fun part. Well, sorry. Didn't mean it like that. What your realtor actually does for you. And as a buyer, well, hold on, that should have been taken out. As a buyer, you typically don't pay my commission. That is true, but commission is always negotiable. There is a chance that you will have to pay my commission. I'm going to request it from the seller within the purchase agreement, but the seller is not required to pay it. All right, just a little disclaimer. I missed that in everything, but market expertise. So as a realtor, I typically know the neighborhood. The neighborhood that I'm in, and I typically have an idea of pricing in the area. So if I see a home and I'm like, I don't know, that seems a little high, that might not appraise, I probably know what I'm talking about. especially once I'm able to sit down and do my CMA and look at the comps, et cetera, because at the end of the day, the seller may or may not come down on their price in the event that it doesn't appraise, right? So at the time that we find out that it appraises too high, you have already paid for your home inspection and you have already paid for the appraisal. These are two amounts of money that you will not get back, usually about $1,000 to $1,500. Negotiation. I love to negotiate. I love to uh, make a deal work, and I love to make it work fairly for everybody. I want to get you the best price and terms, and I want to get you the right deal. And in some cases, it's not necessarily less money out of your pocket. In some cases, it's um, a new system or, an updated system or, more time to be able to move because that's valuable as well. Contract protection. Every clause and deadline exists for a reason, and I make sure that you're covered. So if you're going, for example, if you're purchasing a property that's in the process of being constructed, typically a home inspection contingency lasts 1 to 10 days, but the property is not going to be finished for 30 days. So we need to make sure that your home inspection doesn't take place till after the property is completely finished, so that way you can know what you're getting at closing. That's just an example. And that's something that will be written into the contract. And full advocacy. I'm in your corner from offer to closing and in most cases afterwards, because things can go wrong with a home years down the line. I am the expert that wants you to call them 5 years later when you find something out that you didn't know at the time that you purchased the house. Okay, so now we are going to have Evangelist Tara Bowler come up here and talk to us about life insurance. So buying a home is just the beginning. Keeping it in the family is the goal. Getting to the closing table is a milestone, but generational wealth means making sure that your loved ones are protected if something happens to you. That's why Tara Bowler is here. As a life insurance agent, she's going to cover something most people don't think about until it's too late. So the floor is yours. Come on up here.
Okay, thank you so very much. And hello, everyone. Honored to be here. Yes, as Thebra said, life insurance, something that we all need. We all have a day. And death is something that we cannot predict, we can't evade, we can't avoid it, but we can prepare for it. And there are thousands of insurance companies out there, but what makes Lincoln Heritage different is that not only do we advocate for the beneficiary at the time of death, but we also advocate for the deceased. A lot of times when someone dies, you need money quickly, and a lot of times poor decisions are made because we have to plan something very quickly while we're grieving. If there is not a plan in place, they have to grieve as well as try to come up with money to bury you. And if someone wants to be buried, if there's not a plan in place, unfortunately, they may have to be cremated. And what Lincoln Heritage does is we lay out the final wishes. There are funeral advisors that assist the beneficiary at the time of death. We make sure the beneficiary gets that money within 24 to 48 hours. They simply call a telephone number in the event of the policyholder's death, and we immediately go into action for them. Contacting the local 3 funeral homes and or crematory services, as well as making sure we not only price shop, saving them 30 to 40% on the funeral arrangements, but we also lay out the final wishes that were stated by the policyholder. Everything from what clothes they would like to wear to the pallbearers, to whether it be a church who's going to do the eulogy, all that is laid out, location of documents, because when death occurs, they may know that mom had a policy, but they don't know where to start. They don't know who to contact as far as getting that money, as well as there could be 3 different funerals at 3 different prices. It's all in what you know. A lot of times we don't know that you do not have to disclose your policy amount to the funeral home. One can be 10,000, one could be 15,000. It's all in what you are knowledgeable at. So I like to educate, empower, and equip the community for the inevitable. because death will occur, but we can have a plan in place, whether it be with Lincoln Heritage, but being the number one final expense company where we not only save the family money, but we also protect them from being taken advantage of at the time of death. My contact information, I guess we'll put that in the comments or something like that. But just planning a funeral alone can be a lot on an individual. And the Lincoln Heritage Funeral Advantage assist your beneficiary at the time of death, and we also lay out the final wishes in a database as well as a memorial guide for the family. And that is what Lincoln Heritage does. So again, we like to just educate and let you know that whether you're young or old, it does not matter. It's a very serious and beneficial decision because it also builds cash value over time, and it's for your whole life. If you live to 120, which a lot of us don't get there, you are still covered. So it's better to do it sooner than later. And thank you so much.
Yeah,
Hopefully I didn't talk.
that was wonderful. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Definitely an important part of the process to help protect your investment and to help your family. Okay, so if you are ready to start your journey, I like to break things down into like simple steps. Because sometimes, you know, you'll see the journey, but you don't see the steps there, or you'll see the end goal, but you don't see the steps that are involved. So we're gonna make this real easy on you. If you're ready to start your journey, here's exactly what to do next this week. It's Saturday, so next week. First thing you're gonna do, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna check your credit. You can check your credit for free at annualcreditreport.com. It takes just a few minutes. There's also myfico.com. And Letitia will tell you that checking your credit on your own first is great for you because it keeps you from having that inquiry on your credit report. Yeah. Number two, you're going to connect with Letitia. She's going to give you she's going to have a more in-depth conversation with you about getting pre-approved and knowing what your exact buying power will be and what documents you need to prepare. Then you can book a buyer consultation with me every Saturday. Okay, so I missed that too. Just not every Saturday. I can meet you on a Saturday, but I'm not gonna meet you every Saturday. And then, okay, this isn't the one that I changed. What I changed it to was talk to Evangelist Thebra to help protect your investment. Before you close would be great, but definitely once you own the property. Information without action doesn't change anything, so pick one step and do it this week. Thank you for being here. Again, check your credit, get pre-approved, book a buyer consultation, and protect your investment. Oh, this is the correct one. Talk to Evangelist Tara Bowler about life insurance to protect your investment. That was it. All right, so we want you to stay connected with us. Let me put up Tara's, hold on, let me stop sharing this and put up her information. Turn this video off. All right, here we are. We're gonna share the screen again. All right. Just ignore all the open icons I have. All right, here we go. So here is the contact information to help you start your journey. You have me at the top, Thebra Lawrence, Realtor and Associate Broker, Letitia Elliott, Loan Officer Broker with Nexa Lending. That's her contact information there. And Evangelist Tara Bowler, Life Insurance Agent. There's her contact information there. So be sure to write it down or just save this video and give us a call or shoot us an email. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for sitting through this presentation. We look forward to hearing from you. Anybody else want to say anything?